The fall of Rome serves as a cautionary tale about the corrosive effects of manipulating money on an empire's stability and the importance of real assets. When we think of the fall of Rome, many of us imagine barbarians breaking down the gates, legions scattering, or emperors being poisoned in marble halls. But empires don't collapse only from outside attacks. They decay from within. And one of the most corrosive forces is money. Rome didn't fall only because of invaders or corruption. Its downfall began when its economy crumbled. The lessons from that collapse still matter today for every modern economy that thinks it can manipulate money without consequence. For centuries, Rome's economic backbone was the silver denarius. First minted around 211 BC, it was nearly pure silver, trusted across the empire. Soldiers were paid in it, merchants demanded it, and ordinary Romans stored their savings in it. The denarius was more than a coin. It was confidence in metal form. As long as people believed in Rome, they believed in its money. But running an empire was expensive. Legions had to be paid, roads and aqueducts built, wars financed. By the 2nd century A.D., Rome was stretched thin by wars with Germanic tribes, Parthians, and internal unrest. Tax revenues couldn't keep up, so emperors turned to an old trick: debasement, lowering the silver content instead of raising taxes. Under Augustus, the denarius was about 95% silver. By Caracalla's reign in the early 3rd century, it was around 50%. By Gallienus's time, less than 5%. A once solid coin had become bronze with a thin silver wash. People noticed. Prices soared as the coin lost real value. A measure of wheat that once cost 1 denarius could soon cost dozens. Soldiers demanded higher pay, merchants refused debased coins, and local economies reverted to barter. Trust vanished, and emperors kept minting cheaper coins, hoping volume would replace value. It was a vicious cycle, one seen in countless inflations since. The so-called crisis of the 3rd century, 235 to 284 AD, brought chaos, invasions, plagues, civil wars, and economic collapse. Emperors rose and fell in months. Taxes were collected in worthless coins. Farmers abandoned their land and trade broke down. The government tried desperate measures, price controls, forced labor, but nothing worked. Emperor Diocletian tried to restore order. In 301 AD, he issued the edict on maximum prices, fixing the cost of goods and wages. But money that has lost value can't be saved by decree. The black market flourished, and legal trade collapsed. People learned a hard truth: no law can make a broken coin whole. Eventually, Rome abandoned the denarius. Constantine introduced the solidus, a pure gold coin, in 312 AD, restoring some stability. But by then, the Western Empire was already fatally weakened. The lesson for today is clear. Money is the foundation of every state. Rome thought it could fool its people by issuing coins that looked the same but held less silver. Modern governments do the same, printing paper, manipulating rates, inflating debts away. The result never changes. People pay the price, wealth disappears, and trust dies. Inflation isn't an accident. It's policy, a silent tax that erodes nations. Real wealth isn't in paper or numbers, but in assets that hold value when money fails: land, skills, productive work, and resources. And stability is never permanent. Romans in the 1st century never imagined their coins would be worthless. Germans in 1913 didn't foresee wheelbarrows of cash. Zimbabweans once thought their currency would last. The story keeps repeating. Today the stakes are global. Rome's collapse was imperial. Weimar's hyperinflation national, Zimbabwe's local. But now the whole world runs on fiat currencies and massive debts. The next collapse won't stop at one border, and as always, those without real assets, ordinary citizens, will suffer most. So what should you take away from Rome's crisis? First, inflation is deliberate, not a mistake. Second, true wealth lies in things that keep their value when money doesn't. Third, never assume stability is eternal. History shows that when money loses meaning, society unravels. Contracts fail, trade stops, and governments lose legitimacy. The fall of Rome wasn't a single event, but a long decay. When money breaks, everything breaks. In the end, the barbarians may storm the gates, but the real collapse always begins inside the treasury,